everyone. So for today in lab, we're going to continue what we started a couple weeks ago, which is freshwater invertebrates. So the last time you learned some broader taxonomic groups like phyla, class, order. Today is going to be all about families. So what we'll do is we'll review the classes and orders. We'll go over families. And then we'll do an activity just like we did the last time so that you can practice your identification skills. After today, you'll have everything you need to know for the lab practical. The lab practical won't be until May, so you have some more time. So what we will do is for some other labs, we will also be looking at macroinvertebrates. So you get to do some more identification and practice before you have the full lab practical. So, what phylum is this organism? Hopefully you said mollusk or mollusca. And you can there's a sheet that has a full list of all the families you're going to need to know with the phylums, classes, and orders. So I suggest you get that out and have it while you're practicing, while I'm doing these lectures. But it will also be super helpful while you're doing the lab assignment where you're trying to identify a variety of organisms. Okay, so we got mollusk, and then what is the class? And you can pause it if you want a chance to think about it for practice here. So gastropoda is the class. So these are our snails. They all have spiral shells, or cone-shaped shells. There are 15 different families that are freshwater species, 500 species in North America. They're generally not found in very fast-moving water. There are 3 families that we're going to learn out of those 15, and these are the most common ones that you'll come across. They're the most common ones that I've found when I've been sampling places in the southeastern United States. So we'll look at Planorbidae, Limnaeidae, and Physidae. None of them have an operculum, which is a hard thing that the snails can pull to close up the hole at the end of their shell. So none of them have that. So the first family is Planorbidae, also known as the ram's horn snails. Because the shape of the shell is supposed to look kind of like a coiled ram's horn. They're usually about 3 to 30 millimeters in size, and they like soft substrates. So if it has like a muddy clay bottom, you're more likely to get these guys. They do not have any lungs, but they do have hemoglobin, and you can see in this picture that the flesh looks very pink purple. That's the hemoglobin in there, just like we have, and it helps them transport oxygen in low oxygen environments. All right, the next one is Limnaeidae. It has a pointy shell, and this family and the next one both have these pointy shells. And what you need to pay attention to is when you have the opening facing you, is the opening on the right side or the left side? For Limnaeidae, they open to the right. They have no lungs, and they can be a variety of different sizes. Physidae is the one that has the opening to the left. So when you get your snail, point it upward if you had it in your actual hand, but all of my pictures will be looking like this so that you can figure out which one is which. So the opening is on the left here. They're 5 to 20 millimeters, so not as variable in size as Limnaeidae, but they do have lungs. They can breathe air. And this makes them very tolerant of low oxygen environments because it means they don't have to rely on the oxygen in the water. And we'll see as we look at different taxa and how well they do under different water quality scenarios, a big factor is going to be whether they can tolerate these low oxygen environments. And anything that can breathe air is going to be very pollution tolerant because low oxygen is indicative of some pollution. Okay, what phylum is this? Hopefully you said mollusk again. And what class? Bivalvia or bivalves. Okay, so these are mussels and clams. There are 4 families, 270 species in North America, and they're found in most freshwater habitats. We will learn 2 families that are the most common. One is Spheridae, which are small, and one is Unionidae, which are larger. The other 2 families found in North America are non-native. And so we won't focus on those, but we will probably mention them in class. So Spheridae are fingernail clams. They're very small. So these marks here are millimeters. They are 2 to 10 millimeters, so small. They are tan to gray, and they have a smooth shell, so that should be very helpful. The other family often has a bumpy shell. They're found in all kinds of habitats, but I find them in ponds with soft bottoms frequently. This is Unionidae. These are freshwater mussels. You can see that the shells aren't always smooth. They often have lots of bumps and nodules and things like that, ridges. They're big, so much, much larger. If you see a small clam-looking thing, it is Spheridae. If it is big, it is Unionidae. They have lots of cool names like elk toe and pocketbook and floaters and moccasin shell. They used to be used to make buttons from this pearly part, but they're declining majorly. Damming rivers and pollution in rivers, sedimentation has really made declines in these guys, and they're very diverse in North America.